teclistamab is a BCMA and CD3 directed bispecific antibody. And how this works is the BCMA is a known unique target for multiple myeloma. When you're looking at any bispecific antibodies in this space targeting BCMA, they direct the T cells, redirect them to cause the myeloma cell lysis and helps with the myeloma cell kill. So in the space it has been evaluated is, it's a pretty crowded space. Patients who have previously been exposed to the immunomodulatory agents, patients who have been previously exposed to the proteasome inhibitors, the CD38 antibodies. These patients, there is an unmet need for these patients to have newer therapeutic strategies. So the prognosis probably is not as good as we want. So we definitely want to improvise on what we have at this point of time, and bispecifics make a nice place in there with good safety profile, and that's what has been evaluated in the setting. So it's a phase 1/2 study. Phase 1 portion had 40 patients or so, and phase 2 portion has three cohorts. Cohort A is the patients who are in the earlier lines of, who were initially thought to be in the earlier lines of therapy. Phase B are the ones who are penta-refractory patients, and cohort C are the ones who are prior exposed BCMA patient population. Cohort B was quickly discontinued because cohort A is accruing all these penta-refractory patients. So now we only had 2 cohorts that are existing out there. Cohort B got dropped out. Cohort C was presented as a poster discussion. Cohort A is the one that was combined with part 1, and that contributed to a total of 165 patients. That's what we presented the data on. So the primary endpoint for this specific data was overall response rate. There are several secondary endpoints, including the duration of response, median, the progression-free survival, or overall survival, several other PK parameters, as well as quality of life issues as well. So this is the patient cohort is 165 patients. The median age is 64 years old. And you see heavily pre-treated patient population. So the median prior lines of therapy in this patient population is 5. And these patients, as I alluded to before, 30% of this patient is penta-refractory. Almost 75% of these patients are triple refractory. 100% of them are exposed to any of these 3 drugs, all of these 3 drugs. So in this patient population, it is hard to see a good response. So the teclistamab at a dosing of 1.5 milligram per kilogram given weekly, this is of course after receiving the step-up dosing, patients were given until you get the response. So we were able to see those responses happen very quickly at 1.2 months as a median. And the best time to response is less than 4 months. And you're able to see an overall response rate of close to 63%. When you have a response, these responses are deep. The VGPR rates are 58%. The complete responses are close to 40%. So you see those deep responses, quick responses, and those are durable over time, which leads us to believe that this is a good agent in this space. So what we also presented was the median progression-free survival, which is 11.4 months. Putting in the context, so this is equivalent to what was approved, what was seen in the approved ide-cel in the cohort that received 450 million CAR T cells. So the approved ide-cel had a PFS of 8.5 months in a similar patient population. This has a median PFS of 11.5 months, rivaling what I alluded to earlier about the 450 million CAR T cell cohort. So very effective strategy, able to deliver the benefits like what you get from a CAR T, yet not being subjected to all the process issues and the logistical issues of the CAR T, which is a win-win situation. We do have, this is the median duration of response, median PFS, these are all well maintained. There are some safety issues that really we need to work on to make these agents much, much better. These can be improvised. So number one, there is an infection signal that was seen. There are a higher number of COVID patients, and there were 12 COVID deaths through the study. And one can only assume this is happening in the midst of a pandemic, thanks to the patients that participated in this. But it's a huge number of COVID deaths that happened. So cannot say that these are related to the drug. This is happening again in the midst of a pandemic, but we needed to figure out strategies that would minimize the infection potential, provide good prophylaxis, yet be able to deliver the drug. There are several strategies that could be worked out, and currently some of these trials are working on those. It's like spacing the interval between the dosing. Trying to look for alternating dosing schedules is absolutely essential so that we can deliver the drug at much farther intervals. None of the side effects have led to the discontinuation of the drugs except in 2 patients. So this is a very safe drug. The drug intensity that was intended to be delivered is almost beyond the 94% or so, which always tells you that this is one of the drugs that you want to deliver, you're able to deliver without any dose reductions and dose interruptions. The CRS rates and the neurotoxicity rates, these are not quite different than what you see in the other bispecific antibodies. If there are higher grade CRS rates, then it would make me worry, but that's not the signal that we are seeing here. The CRS grade 1 is in the range of around 70% or so, grade 2 in the range of around 30%, grade 1 and 2 together is 70%, grade 2 30%, and the number of people that receive tocilizumab is in the range of around 30% as well. So these all happen during the priming dose or the first dose, so which makes it very comfortable when you have a predictive toxicity profile. You can plan for the next cycles to be delivered in a community. So that's probably what's going to happen ultimately for these class of drugs, where the drugs can be given to the patients in the community through the community doctors.